Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Let's get it. All right, welcome to another great episode of The Real Deal. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with another great episode on deck. It is February 4th, already the fourth day of February. So the time is just going by and going fast. But yeah, another great episode. And I met this person on Twitter. She had a great article out. We're going to get into all of that. She's a sports writer, uh, entertainment. She does a little bit of everything. So we're going to get into her career and things like that as well. But before I bring her on, you can find the show at Get the Real Deal on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, BS3 Network. We're on all the podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple. We're on Roku, BS3 Network on the Roku channel as well. So without further ado, I am bringing in my guest, and she goes by Alyssa, right?
Yeah.
Alyssa, got it. All right, just make sure. Alyssa 216. You can follow her there. Sports writer, like I said, sports entertainment. Do a little bit of everything. Like I said, we're gonna get into all her background and everything. So thank you for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, yes, and I love sharing stories with different sports writers and things like that. So, but before we get into it, how are you doing? And again, thank you for the accepting the invite.
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a Cavs game day, so I'm really
Mhm.
excited for this evening. We have a big game against the Celtics.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, huge game. And then the Cavs. Yes, you cover the Cavs, and like I said, sports management, entertainment, sports writing for the sports girls club, as well. To cover the Cavs, gymnastics. So yeah, you big gymnastics, and I love watching gymnastics, especially during the Olympics and even before then, the World Championships and things like that. So we're gonna get into all of that. So, but let's start there. Let's start with your background. Tell a little bit about yourself, how you got into sports writing and sports. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Cleveland, so I've always been surrounded by a great sports environment here. And I'm a diehard Guardians and Cavs fan, and I now work
Okay.
for the Cavs. So I work in game day entertainment for them. So I'm like throwing t-shirts, anything going on the court during like timeouts and stuff. I'm pretty much involved with all of that. So it's really exciting working with them. I just started this season, and this
Okay.
season is historically our best season ever.
Yes, very, very good
And then I've
season.
always been directly involved with sports too. I was a competitive gymnast, so that's why it's my favorite sport to follow. I did that from when I was like 3 until I was a teenager. And then I did pole vaulting in high school.
Okay.
So I did like the most normal of sports. And then as far as sports writing goes, I never had like any intentions to get involved with it. My degree is in film studies and creative writing. So I've always been a very creative individual. But my sophomore year of college, I think it was, I took a journalism class for like a core credit, and I
Okay.
ended up covering soccer and football for our school, and I really enjoyed it. Because I was doing marketing for Paramount Pictures, because I'm a very involved person.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to continue working with our school newspaper, even though I kept being asked if I wanted to be a regular sports writer. And then just before the Olympics, my opportunity came up with Sports Girls Club to cover the Olympics. So I've been working with them since then, and I cover women in sports now.
That is amazing. And you got a couple of shout outs here. Yes, if you guys have any questions in the chat, you can reach out on YouTube and Spreaker also Facebook as well. So yeah, so the NR Hour for Nathan Sports, the Rush Sports Show. He said, "Happy Super Bowl week, and everyone keep up the great work." He says hello. He said your story is amazing. So yeah, very, very much an amazing story. A lot to unpack there, because like you said, you went from sports writing and film and gymnastics, and it is a great like versatility. And how important is that to you? Just like you said, you kind of touched on a lot of different layers of what you do, and where you begin, how much you feel like how much versatility is important, and especially in sports writing and covering these different types of sports.
Yeah, so I like to be a really well-rounded individual and never stop learning. So like I have absolutely no regrets with my bachelor's that I got just 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
congrats.
I do, thank you. I do really love film and writing. So I think that I can apply all the skills that I've learned with my bachelor's degree into different realms of sport. And I know working in sports, working in entertainment, I have to learn to wear a lot of different hats. So it's nice to have a lot of skills in different fields to be able to adapt quickly in different environments. So that's why right now I'm getting my certification in global sports management from New York University.
Okay.
So I can further my education within sports, because I think especially for people who want to go into working with sports, if just have like one skill set, it's going to be pretty difficult to find, a job or even, a full career within that. So I like to have a lot of different skills that I can pull from.
Yeah, yeah, a lot. I mean, very skillful, and it shows when it comes to media journalism. You said sports management and anything. I think you said you like to be involved, and
Mhm.
you involve and you evolve
Yeah.
with that too. I want to go back into gymnastics. I just the sport of gymnastics in itself is amazing. The athletes are what they do, and everything too. And gymnastics has blown. I mean, it's blown for many years, but especially now over the last, I would say, goodness, 20 years. I would say. And well, first, who's your favorite gymnast of all time? I'll ask you that first.
So it has to be Simone Biles, for
Okay.
many different reasons, both her skill on the competition floor, but also just who she is as an individual, and just how much she has done for mental health within sports, but also
Yeah.
within gymnastics itself. But in addition to her, I also love Aly Raisman.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And you said someone by highly Raisman. I mean, big names in the gymnastics. And talk about that love and passion that you have for gymnastics. As you said, you were a gymnast, and you turned that now into writing as well for that. But talk about your love of gymnastics and how much that sport and the skill of the sport, and that the acrobatics and everything too. For those that don't understand, when they watch gymnastics, the scoring, the system, and all that. But talk about that and how much of uh, athletically of that sport is.
Yeah, so I competed for probably about 10 years.
Okay.
So I was in the Junior Olympic program. So that's when you start with level two,
Yeah.
and you have like a specifically choreographed routine that you and all your teammates are doing. So it's like compulsory. And that goes through, I think it's still level five now. I know there have been like every 8 years things change within the Junior Olympic program. So I think just the style of the routines changed. But after that, levels 6 through 10, you have your own routines and you just have to incorporate a specific skill set within them. So you have to have we have skills that are labeled like A is your easiest skill. You have more difficult skills as you go through to like an E skill. So you have to incorporate a certain amount of those skills and routines.
Yeah.
So usually you'll have your season from like November. States are usually in late March, maybe April, and then you'll have like regional competitions even later in the spring. Um, and beyond that, you would go into, if you wanted to, you'd go into elite, or you would keep training towards like college. But your elite program is after that junior Olympic program, and you would be training for like 8 hours a day. Most people who go the elite route and are training for the Olympics, they're not going to school most of the time. They're doing online schooling, and their main focus is gymnastics.
Mm.
And as you can see, there are very few gymnasts who do end up in the Olympics.
Yeah, yeah,
We're lucky at a point right now where we see a lot of gymnasts who are extremely talented, have Olympic potential, continuing their careers in college, thanks to those NIL deals. Because we used to have a situation where it was either, okay, you go to the Olympics and you make money, you become pro, you can't go to college. But now we have a lot of gymnasts who are doing both. So you'll see them go
yeah.
to the Olympics, but they can still make profit off of themselves, which is
Mm.
great.
Yeah,
Um, like I said, I was within that junior Olympic program. I was never going to the Olympics or going to college. I was just having fun with it.
yeah.
I was a state champion in the all around vault and even bars, and I represented Ohio at our regional competition, and I was runner up on beam. So I have a
Okay.
couple titles to my name there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm in an incredibly lucky situation now with Sports Girls Club, because my beat is women in sports, so I have a pretty broad beat. So I'll cover different women working in sports, different athletes, different teams. But for the most part, if I can, I stick to covering NCAA gymnastics because I think it's something that deserves a lot more coverage.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, and it definitely does. And like I said, gymnastics. I know a lot of the casual fans. They, they like the Olympics, and they'll watch the Olympics, and I think that's where it that's where it begins and ends with with the more casual fan. But the diehards or the fans like um, that really connect with it and really are big fans like yourself, you follow it all year. You follow it for all year and you cover it and things like that. So it is good to see the sport of gymnastics. You said Simone Biles one of the greatest athletes of all time, man or woman. It doesn't even matter.
Hmm.
She's just one of the greatest of all time,
Yeah.
and I don't think that can be argued at all. And you said what she's done for the sport, with the mental health and and having moves named after her and things like that, even at the age. And I know with gymnasts, the age, I know she was talking about now she has nothing else to prove, but she was saying that she might not um, compete in the LA Olympics. I have a feeling she will. I really do.
I'm hoping she will, even if she's not doing the all around. I'm hoping to
Yeah.
still see her in some capacity.
Right, right. And I would love to see her. But I mean, you brought up a really another good point about there's so many gymnasts that don't make the Olympics, but they go back to school and they compete in with college. And because you said there's only what 4 or 5 spots usually. Then they have the wild card, or I think they have the alternative um athletes that come into a few of them that comes in. But the pipeline for USA Olympics or USA gymnastics is very talented. And
Hmm.
there's so many even after after Simone Biles when she does retire as well. But I remember when Lori Hernandez, another great gymnast, and just hearing her and watching her on the Olympics when she talks about the coverage, and it's amazing what she does too. So it's just I just love seeing that. And like I said, just for the women, just on the women's side, the pipeline of gymnasts is tremendous. And Jordan Childs, you got, I mean, so many different ones. So what do you think of that, like the future of gymnastics moving forward in the next 4 8 years?
Yeah, so I definitely want to talk about the change in the ages of gymnasts that we're seeing, because I know I
Mm,
mentioned that NIL has helped a lot of
yeah,
gymnasts continue
right.
their careers, and that definitely plays a part in it because they don't have to decide, okay, you're going to the Olympics, you're going to college, you can do both. Like we see Jordan Childs and Jade Carey both doing
Indeed.
both the NCAA
Mhm.
and two Olympics, which is amazing to see. Suni Lee had some time in the
Suni Lee,
NCAA
yep.
too. There's definitely been a huge shift in gymnastics, and there's still a lot more work that needs to be done. But a big part of that was getting the Carolis out of USA Gymnastics, because that's
Yeah.
a whole issue in itself. But also, I think there's been a shift in commentary. I think mainly because Simone Biles and being the incredible athlete she is and having the skill set she did at 27 in the last Olympics. But gymnasts used to peak at 16, retire by the time they were like 20.
Yeah.
A 19-year-old gymnast was considered old, and because you need to be 16 at the Olympics, if you were 15 and then turned 19 to prepare for the next cycle, you didn't even know if you're going to be able to make it. I retired when I was 15 because I had herniated discs and all
Mm.
kinds of problems. I wasn't in the best of environments. But I think it's really cool now to see a lot more older gymnasts and even like adult gymnasts start classes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because it's not normal to be retiring when you're just a teenager, when you're just a kid. So
Right.
there's definitely been a big shift in normalizing continuing your careers and pacing yourselves so you can have a longer career. Um, and then also with the Olympics and coming off an Olympic year, I think it's really important for big media outlets, especially like ESPN, to do national coverage of gymnastics,
Yes.
especially when, like you said, like there are casual fans, like they'll know who Jordan Childs is, they'll know who Jade Carey is, but beyond that, they're probably not exactly well versed in who else competing in NCAA.
Hmm.
So I think it's be really important to keep using those like names to the advantage of casual fans to be like, hey, come watch Jordan Childs and UCLA that just had a meet on Fox, which was the first live gymnastics meet on Fox ever, which was kind of crazy that it took that long. But I think we really need to get casual fans involved and take advantage of coming off an Olympic year to really broadcast it and make it nationally accessible to watch NCAA.
Agreed, 100%. Like it's it's like investing in women's sports and the growth that has happened just in the past few years. I always used to say, because I'm a big advocate for women in sports, women's sports in general, and media and things like that. But I always say when these networks and investors, when they invest in it, it's always been there. It's always been a great product. And now we're seeing it now, as you said, Fox just airing for the first time, gymnastics like that, and nationally, is it's baffling, but it's good in a way too, because now it's finally, it definitely needs, especially after the Olympic year, definitely needs the national coverage, continue to need the national coverage. As you said, the casuals will know the Simone Biles, the Jordan Childs, they'll know that at the Suni Lees from the Olympics. So now it's all about growing upon that, just continue to push that, and they'll need someone like you to push that, and others. But as you said, needs to get more national, and there's a lot of sports like that, especially Olympic sports like track and field. It's another
Mhm.
one. Other sports, volleyball is another one. It's like, yeah, we could see when people will watch, and when they invest in it, they'll watch it. So yeah, we need the ESPNs, the Fox Sports, the NBC Sports to push even more so they could get the national coverage that it deserves.
Right. Like the Olympics happen just every 4 years, but these
Yeah,
sports don't happen just every four
right.
years. I wish more
Hmm.
people realize that.
That is so true. That is so true. Yes, I could go on and on about Olympics and gymnastics with
Oh,
you
I
and,
love
and
the
everything.
Olympics.
Dude. I know. Right?
I'm
Like, because
hoping to get to LA in some capacity.
me too. I was just talking to my wife. We were just saying how, man, the Olympics are in the States. It's in LA. We're planning. I don't know if I want to go as, I always say, because she said, well, would you go as, like, would you try to get credentials, or would you go as a fan? I said, I might just go as a fan. First of all, it'd be that great. Yeah, it'd be great to cover.
Right? Like if the opportunity came up where they're like,
Yes.
"Hey, here's your credentials, go cover it."
Yeah.
I'm taking
Oh
it.
no, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I'm not gonna say no for sure. But if I don't, and I just go as a fan for a day or two, I'm with it. I'm
Right.
going. And so she was saying, "Well, what sports would you watch?" I said, "Well,
Any.
any of them. Yeah, I'll go from, depending on whatever, like beach volleyball. I mean, we just love the Olympics, track and field, gymnastics, basketball, whatever. I'm going just to go.
Yeah, I'll get into any sport during
Any
the
sport.
Olympics.
I'll go from sport to sport if need be. I'll be like Snoop Dogg when he was in there, just going from. He's just everywhere. So yeah, I'll definitely do that. But that's the plan too. So if you do and we can make it happen, maybe we'll meet in person. That'd be great. Just to say hi and all that. So yes, that's out there. We're putting it out there. Let's put it out there. 2028. That's 3 more years from now. So I can't wait for that. And everything too. So, all right, I want to get back into your journalism background and your writing background, and I wanted to ask you about long form writing and where it's going. I know, yeah, I've had conversations with other writers and journalists and media about long form writing, and we talk about reels and TikTok, and I think that's how a lot of people consume it. But long form writing is still there; it's still needed; it's still necessary. So, talk about the long form writing, where it's going, and just the landscape of sports writing and journalism in general, in your eyes.
Yeah, so I'm lucky to be working in a space where we don't use AI at
Yeah,
all. I think that's a big
yeah,
issue with us
yeah,
too. And coming from my background in creative writing and having a degree in English, I know we really talked about that. Like you can tell when something's AI and it's not going to have that human emotion aspect to it, and you can
yeah.
tell it'll be lacking with it. So I take great pride in having a very strong writing background and not relying on that at all.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's really important to learn to adapt your writing skill sets. So I know when I have an article come out, I try to promote it on all of my platforms. So I have just a little post, usually with the title and tagging my organization on Twitter, but I'll make a graphic for an Instagram story post so all of my friends can go and see it. And I'll always post on TikTok too, just to be like, hey, this is what it's about. Check it
Yeah,
out in my bio. So I think it's important to be very versatile and understand your target audience. I'm very well versed in the AP style, as all sports journalists need to be. But I try to have a lot of creativity, and I know my organization, Sports Girls Club, promotes being very original and creative with what you're sharing and writing, news that you would want to read. So whenever I'm writing an article, I try to be both informative on what I'm talking about, especially if it is related to NCAA gymnastics, because that's like my area of
yeah, yeah,
expertise. But I try to put like my own spin on it and be creative. And sometimes I'll put in like little puns. I know I had one article where I had like as many gymnastics puns that fit in easily, but if you understood the sport well, you'd catch really easily. So I try to have like fun with what I'm doing.
yeah, yeah. I used to write. Quite a few years ago, and I sometimes do miss it. I used to write for a couple websites, and now I just I do the podcast. But even podcasts, I still have to do like my researching and writing and things like that, and questions and all that. But I love reading storytelling of that, and just talking about things of the athletes, or not just the athlete, just a topic or subject um, that just I fascinates. So I'm always reading things, and I enjoy that long form writing. People think, oh, long form writing is not there anymore. No, it's still there. Just it's just like you said, you per people like yourself that are still doing it at such a high level. I really enjoy that, and I'm glad that you guys are journalism is still pushing. And I know sometimes journalism and media gets people always talking about it as, yeah, as I won't go politics with our fake news president that that says things like that. But he saying things like that hurts journalism,
Oh, for
hurts
sure.
media, and with people like yourself and others that are hardworking writers, and putting out great material for us to read for those purposes. I think I'm glad it's still pushing the barriers for that, and shutting down people that are negative against journalism and media. So
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I'm glad that I'm glad I've met you and everything too. So I want to get into this article, which I find was really good. Breaking barriers in the ice. Women belong in hockey. Also find it on sportsgirlsclub.com for those that uh I I thought I retweeted it, but I just did it. I thought I did. I'm like, wait, I didn't retweet this. I'm going, so I did it now. So just saying
Thank
that
you.
I'm retweeting that, and I'm going to put it up there as well because I did read it and I said, oh, I didn't retweet this. I did. I liked it, but I thought I'd share it, so I've shared it now. But it's a great article, a great feature, I should say. Talk about what came into this and your mindset and why you wrote this. Women belong in hockey, breaking barriers in the ice.
Yeah, so I have a pretty decent following on Twitter, and I've been able to connect with a lot of other women in sports. That started as just fans when I was just using it as a fan, but also other women working in sports. So naturally, this comment came up into my feed. There's a guy who said that women don't belong in men's hockey, of course, using fake profile picture, not
Of
using his
course.
real name.
Yeah.
And it was a response to a hockey writer for the Capitals, Katie Adler, an article she wrote about the first two NHL women coaches facing off, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But a bunch of women working in hockey, they took that comment and they posted pictures of themselves working and having success in hockey, which I thought was really cool.
Yes.
I spoke to Katie, and she's featured in my article as well, to tell her what I wanted to write about, and also just to ask her her thoughts on the situation because she expected to get a couple negative comments with the nature of highlighting women in sports. But she didn't expect so many women in sports to take it and like step up and really shut him down.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I talked to a bunch of women who made posts and talked to them about their experience working in hockey, what it was like taking part in that trend, and also what inspires them as women in sports. So it's really nice hearing from them, and they were all so inspiring and so great to talk to.
Yeah, it was fascinating, and you talk to a lot of incredible women that are in hockey that have um, broadcasted or like I said, part of the networks and all this. And I think I actually found this article from Alexa from Vegas, and who was one of a dear friend of mine in the industry, and I've had her on my podcast quite a few times. I think I was one of her first podcast that she was on quite a few years ago, and she retweeted it, and I said that's how I found it. I was like, oh, okay. I'm always excited, always looking for different people to have on the podcast, of course, but just share the story, and I saw that's when I saw it, and she's done so much with marketing and branding and media for a lot of different women too, and that's how I came across this article. And I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was really really good. And you said yes, you're gonna have those trolls or negative people that just they're still living in the stone ages of things, and it is very important that women in sports in the forefront of all sports and all things. So like again, I think this article was much needed, and really pushing, like I said, breaking the barriers and pushing barriers and forward. So yeah, I thought it was very important.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so cool that you found that through Alexis because I know all these women taking part in the trend were able to make connections with each other
Hmm.
and really connect with other women working in hockey, which is like a very validating experience, but also proving that, hey, like women do belong in hockey. But I think it's cool, even just for myself and going about the experience of writing it. I've also made so many cool connections with other people working in sports.
Yes. So like I said, everyone find us on sportsgirlsclub.com. Um, and it's shared on my page and everything too. So for my listeners as well. So yeah, a really good thing. That was a great article as well. Was this one of your favorite articles that you've done, and writings that you've done? Or if I can ask, like, what are some of your favorite things that you've covered?
Yeah, so outside of having the opportunity to cover gymnastics a lot, it's really cool when I do have the opportunities come up where I can interact with other people. So like I said, my B is women in sports. So I'm the one that pitches the idea of what I want to write about that week. And then my head of journalism, she'll go ahead and approve of it. So I'm the one coming up with what I'm writing each week. So this one was definitely one of my favorites because I got to interact with so many cool people within the hockey industry, and they all had such diverse positions and backgrounds working in hockey. So it was really nice hearing those different perspectives. So this one was really fun to write. And then one of my other favorites was my interview with Madison Skinner. She's a Honda Award winner for volleyball. She would have just finished her last season with Texas and is going pro now. Someone who works with Red Bull reached out to me saying that she'd seen my articles and she wanted to give me the opportunity to interview one of Red Bull's athletes, and it happened to be Madison Skinner. So that was a really cool
That's
experience
cool.
getting to
Yeah.
talk to her.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's another great point because you just don't know where that reach could go to,
Yeah, definitely.
you write something or you say something, say you just did a feature and a video and you just, you tweet it out and you say, I hope it reaches, that people will enjoy it and read it and everything too. But you just don't know how far that reach is. So yeah, that's great. That's really good. All right, we'll go get two more, and I'll let you go because I think I know we got a busy day coming up, and I'm sure we both do, and everything too. But I wanted to talk about. I'll talk to Cavs first, then we'll get into women's sports. We'll end on that. Talk about the Cavs and the historic season they are having. They're having a great season as well. You said big game today against the Celtics. That's huge. Celtics, the defending champions. That they're battling for that number one seed. And I mean, the Cavs I knew they were going to be good this year. I just didn't know how good they were going to be. They started out really hot and still continue to be number one in the East. How has that been for you as a Cavs fan? It's in general, but also covering them and their season. What's your reaction to their season so far, heading to All-Star break?
Yeah, so it's been exciting past few seasons as a fan. Just going from a really young team, just keep stepping further and further. And I think bringing Kenny Atkinson in, really sealing our core four with Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen. I think that really helps solidify this team to take them to the very next step where we want to be. So we've been in the playoffs the past couple of seasons. So it's been really exciting. I went to one of the playoff games last year, and that was a really fun atmosphere to be in against the Orlando Magic. So this year, over the summer, we were like all as fans before I was brought onto the team. It's like, okay, are we blowing up our core four? Because a lot of people seem to think that the team is going to be completely shaken up. And I was like, I don't know if I'm just delusional, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we need to keep these guys. Right. And we did. Our team is pretty much completely the same as it was last year. We're all just, we have a couple injuries right now, but everybody's brought back in and healthy and a lot better than where they were in the playoffs because we just caught the injury bug and could not shake that off. So this summer I was hired to work in Gameday entertainment. So it's been a lot of fun working for the team with how good they are, but also just having such an amazing crowd of fans. And they're electric every night. What's really cool working these big games, like I know experienced that when the Thunder was in town. It feels like a playoff game. So I'm expecting nothing different tonight.
Yeah, expectations now are very high for them. I think even coming into the season, we just didn't know, like, okay, as you said, what's the next step for the Cavs? Where are they going to break that team up? Because, they were thinking, oh, the Garland and the Mitchell backcourt wasn't going to work, and two ball dominant guards, smaller guards, it's not working. They're only going to get to a certain point, maybe first, second round, and that's it. Now they seem like they figured it out, at least so far. And also the improvement of Mobley, that was always a question too. How much can he improve? How much can he get better? And that was a thing too. But he said getting Kenny Atkinson and putting on, keeping that core together and those pieces together with Jared Allen as well, they've become a really good team. And Like, yeah, I mean, to me, Celtics, and then of course Celtics are probably the favorites. They should be, but then Cleveland's right there with them in the East. I mean, right up at the top, above them actually. But yeah, so we'll see what happens in the playoffs because I think it might come down to those two teams. I mean, yes, the Knicks, of course, and I mean, you can't never count on Milwaukee, but it could come down to Cleveland and Boston in the East. But I've really I predicted Cleveland was going to be better. I just didn't know how much better they would be, and now taking that next step, looks like they're on a trajectory to do it. So hopefully they can continue to keep winning after All-Star break, and get stay healthy, stay healthy, and really become title contenders.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so. It's such an amazing team to be around and be working for all the time.
Yeah,
But Rec Entertainment, it's really a really great organization to be working for. So
yeah,
it's been a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Right. Cleveland, it's been, you said they've been good the last couple of years, but just like I said, playoff team. And it hasn't been like this since the LeBron era,
Yeah.
the LeBron Kyrie era. Even then, when they was running those champions, going to the championship, all those multiple times, all the multiple years in a row. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of excitement in Cleveland for that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens on that. So, all right, last question I want to ask you about, as you said, the investment in women in sports and the explosion of it, and everything too. What's your overall take on it, and yeah, just like said, the explosion of women in sports, great to see it, and they said you're big part of it, of course, women in sport. You're a woman in sports, but just seeing it, the way it has exploded over the last couple of years.
Yeah, even just like connecting to the Cavs, I know there are a lot of cities really bidding to get WNBA teams and really
Yes.
expand that, which is so cool. And we're one of them. So I'm really hoping that the success of the Cavs this year, hosting the women's Final Four last year,
Yeah.
hosting part of March Madness this year, I'm really hoping that the crowd and passionate fans that we have in Cleveland, both for our own sports, but also for basketball in general.
Mm.
I'm really hoping that we can bring in a WNBA team here. I think it's really cool for so many eyes to finally be on women's sports, whether it is because of like Caitlin Clark
Yes, I
in the
see the Caitlin.
WNBA,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if it's because of Simone Biles and seeing athletes in the Olympics. I think it's really important to continue to highlight and uplift and bring attention to women's sports because our sports aren't new. They've been around for a while. They just haven't gotten the national attention that they've deserved for so long. So seeing the growth in the WNBA, the NWSL, and of course
Yes.
the PWHL has been really important. And it's really cool seeing so many young fans get involved, but also see so many people who have waited forever to be able to see these sports with the kind of attention that they're getting.
Yeah, I love the attention, and I've been pushing women in sports for the longest time. Even when I started this podcast 9 years ago, and it's great to see, as you said, the young fans seeing, Caitlin Clark, who's been a big factor. I mean, that can't even be argued. And people that try to do it don't even try because Caitlin is. I think it was. Someone said Caitlin is the needle. She's not. She's the needle. She's not pushing it. She is the needle. That is that. And with others, but pushing forward for the last couple of years, seeing the growth, as you said, in the WNBA and soccer and the women's hockey and volleyball and gymnastics and all sports, and even in media and writing, it's just it's tremendous. I just like to sit. I push forward, and I love seeing it. I sit back and just seeing, love just highlighting it, and sit back and just enjoying the growth of it. And it's not going anywhere. So anyone that thinks women in sports and business and media is going anywhere, it's not. It's
We're
continue.
already here
It's
and we'll
already here. Got
stay.
kick the door, and it's not going away. It's can continue to keep climbing and rising, and I love seeing it, and I know you're a big part of that too. So, yeah, it's great. So, but this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this conversation. Glad to get to know you, and yeah, it's just been it's just yeah, this has been an enjoyable conversation, and I hope we can do this again. But let everyone know where they can follow you, find you, follow your work, and yeah, and just to see if they reaching out to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at Alyssa216. That's also for Blue Sky if you switched over there. On Instagram and TikTok, I'm 216 Alyssa, so flipped
Mhm.
over. But on all of my social media profiles, you can find my link tree, and my very first thing has all of my Sports Girls Club's articles.
Yeah,
And my very first one, as of right now, is going to be that women in hockey one. And my new articles come out every Friday.
every Friday. So follow Liz on all those platforms, the website, and everywhere as well. Like I said, I've retweeted this, and I'm going to subtweet it. I'm going to do everything to just to get eyeballs on it, because like I said, that was a very it was a great article, and tremendous the work you put into that, and all your work too. So, but I'm glad we got to connect on this. Hopefully we can do this again at a later time as well. And before I let you go, what else you got coming up? What you can announce? What else you got coming up? And what you want to accomplish in 2025?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get a ring with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yes.
First
Okay.
and foremost, I'm obviously working with them tonight, but I'll be traveling to see them play against the Pistons tomorrow. So
Okay.
it's about like just over 2 hours of a drive, I think.
Yeah, not bad.
But just to experience the game as a fan again will be fun. I'm hoping to continue doing my sports writing. It's always been something that I've just done for fun, but now I'm like, you know what? Like, I think I could make this like a full-time thing. So,
Yeah.
hoping to get a couple more positions within sports, especially after the NBA season ends. So, I guess we'll see. Whatever comes my way, comes my way.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you're very talented, and something will definitely come your way. I'm sure. So, but again, thanks, Alyssa, for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it. And you never know, the WNBA could come to Cleveland. I
I hope
know
so.
here in Philadelphia, we're pushing for it too. New
No, I
stadia.
thought for sure we were gonna get an NWSL team. We
Mm,
had a facility ready, funding and everything, and then all of a sudden I was like, "It's going to Denver, isn't it?" And
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get me wrong, I'm so excited for them. It just that it is expanding, but I was like,
Yes, yes. So
next time.
let's hope. I know it's one more team for the W. So Philly's big here. They've been pushing. The mayor is pushing. They're talking about that new stadium that they're gonna. That was a whole debacle, but they're pushing a new stadium in South Philly. So yeah, they're pushing for it too. So I'm hoping they come here too. But wherever it goes, it's I'll be
Yeah.
traveling somewhere to watch game. Liberty's the closest here, so 2 hours away. But yeah, that's it's been fun. But yes, Alyssa, thank you again. Really appreciate it. Best of luck. Many blessings to you moving forward, and thank you again for doing this. And I'll have this shared probably either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, you have a good one, and talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that is a wrap for the show. Can't thank Alyssa enough. Follow her on all the platforms, so social media, and her website. And that article again, "Breaking Barriers in the Ice: Women Belong in Hockey." That is in the sportsgirlsclub.com, which covers the Cavs, gymnastics, sports writing, you name it, she does it. So again, thanks to Alyssa for being on the show. So we got Super Bowl week. We got a few of our guys out there doing Super Bowl. I'm missing it this year. I was there last year, missing it with my Philadelphia Eagles there as well. But the team of the BS3 Network is there covering it. They put out some video um, on social media, so I'm sure they got to have some more coverage coming up very shortly. I'm sure they'll be doing some lives there. But they got to do. They were at the in New Orleans, doing some things there, interviewing some of the players there. The players did the media thing last night. So yeah, so follow BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com as well, and enjoy the coverage for Super Bowl week and Radio Row. All right. Well, until next time, thank you again to everyone that tuned in, everyone that's shared and liked and subscribe. So appreciate it. The Real Deal with Courtney Harden on all podcast platforms and social media platforms. So until next time, be on the lookout for more content and more great guests as well. And as always, peace. God bless.